Hi, Chad. Welcome back. How have you been doing since the last time we talked?
Not so good. I had some situations at work that have kind of brought me down since the last time we talked.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit more about that situation?
Well, I kind of made a mistake and a wrong decision at work. And with me being in this management role, it's already been stressful and tough, and making a wrong decision was um, hard on me.
Oh, I bet that was, really tough to go through and despite all of that, I'm glad that you're here and here with this at this session with me and appreciate you coming back. Because I think we can try to make some progress for you and try to work on um, some of these thoughts and issues that you're having at work and even in your personal life.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the last time we were here, if you're okay with me starting with this, we kind of talked about CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, and about the thought record. Did you have some time to kind of think that over? Is that something you're willing to do?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Okay. Well, if you're okay, we can try to use the situation that maybe you experienced this past week, and we can kind of discuss this thought record and put that situation in this thought record and try to go through with that. Is that what you'd like to do? Would you like to talk more about this situation?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it'll help to talk about it. Hmm.
Okay. So tell me a little bit more about this situation, that what you're comfortable with.
Well, I just kind of had a big decision to make. Um, with a customer and with some coworkers, and I kind of blatantly just made the wrong decision through that process.
Okay. What do you mean by like blatantly made the wrong decision?
Um, well, I just I basically had a choice or a situation between two different things, and I picked the wrong one.
Okay. Did something happen? Did upper management come to you or um,
Yeah, yeah, that's where they came down on me after I'd made that decision later on that day, and because I wasn't aware of it when I made the decision. So um, kind of shocked me.
yeah, I bet that was, really hard to sink in. You know, we
Hmm.
we all make mistakes. We all um, make decisions that we wish the situation would have went differently. Um,
Hmm.
I'm really glad that you're comfortable with talking to me about that, and I think we can try to use that situation with this thought record. Um, so the very first section, if you can see on your thought record, it says situation on there.
Hmm.
So we've kind of talked a little bit about the actual situation that happened. And can you kind of think more of some thoughts or recollections that you have about that event and what led to these like unpleasant emotions? Did you have any physical um, sensations that happened when this situation occurred?
Yeah, when they kind of told me what happened, upper management, my heart began to race, and in certain situations, when I get stressed or when I get nervous, I can sweat, and that was kind of going on during that. Um, I also just kind of couldn't concentrate after they had told me that basically what I'd done was wrong.
Okay. Um, so if you were kind of on the very first section, if you'll write down some of those, so like you had your heart
Hmm.
was racing, the sweating and inability to concentrate, those are good things that you had some really good awareness about kind of what your body was telling you before, maybe during that situation and before you had that emotion. Can you tell me maybe some emotions that you had that would kind of coexist with the physical sensations that you had during that situation?
Um, I kind of felt like a failure in that situation. Um, that was one of the thoughts that I had.
Okay, so that would actually fit in the automatic thought in the second section for you, as feeling like a failure. After you made this mistake, and that's a really strong emotion that you have. So that would be okay to write down in the second section if you want to.
Okay.
Did you have any more thoughts or images that kind of went through your mind during this situation?
When I dealt with the customer and the coworker, I kind of felt like once they found out that I made the wrong decision in that it's a situation that they wouldn't trust me anymore.
Okay, so you felt kind of like, because their perception of the wrong decision, that maybe you can't make other decisions. Is that kind of what you're
Mm,
doing? Okay. So I think
yeah,
that would
I
be a
think so.
really good one to write down as well on the automatic thought section.
Okay.
Okay, and I kind of want you to um, revert back to the first one that you wrote down about feeling like a failure. How much would you say that you believe that? Like from a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being none, 10 being, a complete failure. How much do you believe that thought?
Um, Probably an 8 or a 9. Pretty high.
Okay. I'd write that down beside there. Okay. Um, so what made you choose an 8 or a 9 when feeling like a failure? Can you explain that a little bit more to me?
Um, well, when I took this job, going into kind of a management role, um, I just don't feel like I've lived up to what they expected when they hired me.
Okay.
So it's not just this situation, it's kind of several different situations.
Okay. So you're kind of, not only this situation, it's really kind of made you feel this way more, would you say?
Hmm.
Okay. So let's move down to the other automatic thought that you had, and how much would you say on a scale of 0 to 10 that um, you feel? How much do you believe that thought?
Probably a 7 or an 8.
Okay.
Pretty high on that too.
Why do you feel that way?
Um, just I think it leads back to feeling like a failure. The people you're supposed to be managing, if you can't make the right decision, what's going to make them trust you to help them?
Okay. You feel like this decision has really kind of made you feel more like you can't be trusted by your employee, or they can't trust you.
Exactly.
I'd write that down if you can. Okay.
Okay.
I kind of want to talk about emotions in the third sections. It says, like, what emotions did you feel at the time? Can we kind of go over those a little bit?
Yeah. Yeah. Whenever they told me that I'd kind of been wrong and done wrong, um, one of the first ones was frustration with myself, really, more than anything else.
If you can write that down on the third section of the thought record. How
Okay.
intense was your frustration during this situation?
Probably a 9 or a 10.
9 or 10. Okay. If you
Mm-hmm.
can write that down beside there. It's very common, when we, have feelings of frustration, when we, what you're initially thinking that you're making a decision and then it's wrong. We all go
Mm-hmm.
through that. And I'm sure there's a lot of stress and frustration that can go through with your job. Certainly. Did you have any other emotions during this time?
Well, I had some fear of kind of what we talked about a while ago, was customers not trusting or coworkers not trusting, even a fear of losing your job, you
Yeah.
know.
Well, I'd like you to write fear down. I think that one would fit really well in that column. And how intense would you say that emotion? How intense was your fear?
Probably an 8.
Okay. You'll write that down as well in there. Okay. Do you have any other emotions that you'd like to add through that section, or of how you were feeling in that situation?
One thing I had was some anxiety as well too, which was pretty bad, and it's still kind of gone on since then. Um, just being anxious over that situation.
Okay. That's a really good that you can recognize that anxiety and how that's still kind of going on even after this situation. And so, what would be a good idea for that one is to maybe write down, like, anxious before making
Mm-hmm.
the decision, and then maybe you could write, like, anxious after, the repercussions of making that decision and what happened. You'll write that down as, like, maybe 2 different emotions that you had.
Emotion, yeah.
Um,
Okay.
then let's write down, like, how intense was that emotion for you before and versus after on a scale of 0 to 10. And you could write those down as well.
It was probably higher before, because just the worry about the repercussions of making the wrong decision. And once I'd made that decision, I was still anxious, but not near to what I was before making the decision.
And, anxiety is kind of a weird thing. Like, you can feel, really anxious about that, and then immediately after you make that decision, it kind of seems like it goes away, but it's still there, and you can still see kind of. It's really good that you recognize that, and how it's still kind of lingering, even after. Um, so on the what I want you to kind of think about is, in this situation, um, what are some alternative ways that you could approach this situation to maybe um, eliminate those thoughts that you had, like fear that I'm going to lose my job, or I'm feeling like I'm a failure and nobody's going to trust me. Can you think of any like alternative ways that you could think about that situation, or even emotionally, how you could approach that situation?
I've never thought about that, but I guess I could have some more faith in my coworkers, to not to trust me to still make good decisions and not let one bad decision um, be my fate.
Exactly. I think that's a really good way to think about this situation, is that it was one mistake, and that we all make mistakes, and that our coworkers, although you are in management, you're their boss. They're there to support you, and to be kind of help you, guide you, in how to make those
Hmm.
decisions. So I think that would be really good to write down in the fourth section on that adaptive response, is that maybe writing down that, it's just one mistake, and that your employees will understand that. Um,
Yeah.
is there any other like explanations that you could, instead of thinking that you're a failure, is there any other alternative?
Um, Maybe when the upper management came to me, I wouldn't think of it as so much as a punishment as just a push to, try and not make bad decisions, and, hopefully they've got enough faith in me to continue on and do the right thing
Yeah,
and learn from the decisions I make.
I think that's a really good thought process, for sure, that sometimes this can be just like a learning lesson, certainly. And I think that's a really good one. That's a good response to have, um, in that situation. So you might want to write that down also in the fourth
Okay.
section.
Let me write it down here. Okay.
Okay, you have it down. So how now that we've kind of went through the first four sections of the thought record, um, how do you feel about this situation?
Um, I feel like it's a good way to talk about it and kind of figure out what's going on and why I'm feeling the ways I am.
Okay. Um, how much do you kind of now believe that these automatic thought that you initially wrote down? Um, how much do you believe those?
The more I think about them, the more I think I probably am just overthinking the situation, um, and that everything will be okay. I just need to work hard and and trust in the people that I work with.
Good, good. So, it's sometimes it just takes a little bit of realizing what emotions and what thoughts we automatically kind of think about ourselves internally. Um, and kind of writing those down. That's the importance of this thought record, is to kind of write those feelings down and those thoughts that you have initially, and trying to kind of change those into more positive um, outlets, so the situation, your approach to the situation, is more positive. How
Yeah.
do you kind of feel emotionally now?
I think I feel better. Um, I've still got some things I think I need to work out, but I feel better.
Good. I'm glad that
You know.
that's you're feeling better about it, and um, I'm glad. Do you feel like this is something that could work for you, that you can maybe utilize day to day?
Yeah, especially being able to write it down and kind of think through the process instead of just thinking about the decision I made and being frustrated about it. Writing it down helps.
Yeah, that can be really helpful, and just kind of putting it pen to paper and to kind of see it. Sometimes you write down things that you're thinking about yourself, and you're like, wow, that I was thinking that about myself. Um, and trying to
Hmm.
write down some alternative ways can really be um, helpful to bring to light some more positive ways. Um, is there
Yeah.
anything else that you'd like to talk about during this session? Um, do you have any questions about the thought record?
No, I don't. I don't think so. I mean, I think I understand it, and you've explained it well. Walking through it really helps.
Okay. Um, well, I think this is something that I really would like to use throughout our sessions, and it be a way for us to kind of come in and talk about situations that are going on in your life, and that are, can be similar to this situation or completely different, um, that are kind of impacting your life, and trying to help you learn ways, coping strategies, and uh, ways to just kind of develop some more confidence in yourself. And you're
Hmm.
just out of college, and you've taken on a really large role, but I think that they wouldn't have hired you for that if it weren't for them feeling confidence in you and your ability to do the job. Um, and so just kind of building on that, I'd like for you to maybe each week complete, if there's you can complete as many as you want, um, but completing a few of these, or one of these in a situation that you're having. I have a lot of clients that will do this maybe at the end of the day. They'll kind of sit down and reflect, and write down in a journal some of the events that
Hmm.
occurred in their day, and how they can kind of process through that. And then we can try to talk about that through each session, and work on ways, maybe that you're having difficulties finding ways to change that thought.
Yeah, I think that would be good.
Okay, well, do you have any questions or any other things that you'd like to talk about this session?
I don't think so. No. I do look forward to seeing you on the next one, though.
Good. Well, thank you. I really appreciate you coming in, and I also look forward to another session with you. Good luck with this, and I know it's just a little bit more on your plate, so if you don't get things done, it's okay. We can work through those. If you just want to jot down little things here and there, and just whatever is doable for you, that's what's important. So I'll see you next time, and we'll go through another one of these thought records, and kind of discuss some more about what's going on in your life.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.